Absolutely. And then I sit there, well, what would I do? And I said, would I do that? I sure hope so. But nobody knows. You know? Do you run towards the fire or away from it? You know, the burning house. Do you run into the burning house or do you run away? I don't know. I mean, most people, a lot of people you talk to that do heroic things will later on say they didn't even know they did them. They just, something came about that made them do it. They didn't even think. It's like there was no thought involved at all. It was just, this is what, you know. To me, that's almost a mystical energy in this world of when the need is great, there's a great response. And it takes over people, you know. You call that what you will, you know, each religion or spirituality will call that something different. But it's this call to help, call to save, call to be more than what we are, is there for all of us, you know, in any little way we can. And it doesn't have to be great big things. It can be very little things if we choose to listen to that voice. You know, when someone's in need, do we pick up the fork that drops on the floor in the dining room? You know, no, really. I mean, do we see someone who left money in the store? Or do we grab the money and go run after the person? You know, those things are what makes our days. Those things are. Isn't that what makes everyone feel good when they can do something like that? When you can make a difference in the smallest of ways. And that energy is so powerful. You know, those are the things I want to focus on. Because those things help move things forward. You can make a case that we should all be fearful, that we should all be protective, and that these things are a changing world. That, you know, we live in a world now that's much different than, you know, when I was little or when my parents were little. And, you know, we all need to be this and we all need to be that. You can do that. But it doesn't make us feel good. It doesn't bring us anything. In fact, it's like going down a slippery slope, because you start to fear one thing and then you start to fear, and when you get used to fear, then everything turns into fear. And the next thing you know, you're paralyzed. You can't do anything because anything you do could hurt you. You know, and the way you get out of that is what I started talking about tonight. And that's enlarging the influential circle of what your thoughts are. How do I notice when those feelings of fear and protectiveness and smallness come? You know, all of those things make us small. Fear, worry, concern, judgment. It's like we get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then when we turn that around, though, and we start looking out, we start noticing that we're feeling those things, and we start wondering what else is happening in the room, what else is happening in our community, and we start to expand out, how am I a player in the play and not the star of the play? What's going on the stage with me? And when I do something, how does it react with others? That makes us larger and larger and larger. It expands us out. And us, our own individual concerns, get smaller and smaller. It's a matter of contraction or expansion. What do you want to do? Do you want to expand or do you want to contract? You know, and that goes beyond the physical actions of what's going on. I mean, no one's going to argue that these things that are happening are not good. But what are we going to do with them? Are we going to let them make us smaller? Or are we going to figure out a way to look at them to make us larger? You know, when we look at the news and we see pictures of the cafes in Paris, do we look at the bullet holes in the glass, or do we look at the bazillion flowers on the ground in front of it? Which are you going to pay attention to? You know, the outpouring of people and love and you know, are you going to look at that, or are you going to look at the remnants of what happened? It's a choice. And neither one is right or wrong. It's the only litmus test for me is which one makes me feel better. Which one empowers me to move forward? And which one, if I chose to go that way, which one would make me smaller and make me freeze? You know, that's, so, let's call it a day.